ordinance, the council members are the only people that can do that. If they don't protect you, who will? So we need to educate the new council that comes in of how important this is. And that's on Bill 292. I'm going to save discussion for Bill 150, for Act 155 for my good friend Harry Kim. I know he's going to come and speak about that. But I do just want to say real briefly, folks, something that I advocate everywhere I go, whether I'm in Hamakua, Kohala, West Hawaii, whether I'm in Ocean View or Ka'u or here in Puna. Ladies and gentlemen, it's very important that we understand the concept, a lot of what Paul Campo talked about, and Bob, we understand the concept of home rule. We understand, we need to make sure that we understand and that we educate our lawmakers, make them understand how important home rule is to us and what home rule means. As we, as residents of the people of the county of Hawaii, we live here. This is where we raise our family. This is where we hope for a prosperous economy. This is where we work and play with our community. This is where we're going to one day lay to rest. And this is our island. And it's very important, like this PLDC, I'm very proud to say, it was this council that was the very first council that said we need to abolish PLDC. And we passed legislation thanks to Brenda Ford in West Hawaii. We were the first county to do it, and Hawaii County followed, and Maui County followed. We just need to get Oahu to follow as well. But the whole idea, the whole concept is home rule. It's important that we have a say in what our community looks like, what our island will look like, not only today, not only 5 years from now, but 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now. It's our responsibility, folks. And the way to do it is to make sure that we not only expect, but we demand that we be part of a decision-making process when it comes to our community, and that's what we're at. With that said, I want to once again, I don't know, they're going to be, I think, question and answers at the end, but
are you going to be able to stick around?
I'll stick around.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to say to all of you, thank you, mahalo everybody, puna imua.
So what that means is when this comes up for Bill 292, we're going to need to write and call Jay Yoshimoto, Gregory Lagan, Zendo Kern, Brenda Ford, Margaret Willie, Karen Eoff, and the other council members, and ask them to write that letter. And so that's up to us. That's what, this is, how are we going to do this? What can you do? That's what you can do. And that's what we have to do. And when they put it back before the council, we have to show up. And we have to show up like we've never showed up before. If we can show up with 400 people, they're going to have a hard time ignoring us. And if they do, it's going to be noticed that they're not doing what the people want. So please pay attention. We'll let you know when that happens. And we'll give you the addresses. If you're not on the email list, please sign up and get on the email list. Back at the back door back there, we have a sign up. Please get on our mailing list, and then we'll let you know when all that stuff goes on. So next we have Harry Kim. Harry Kim. Long-time civil defense mayor. I want to really thank Harry for taking the time to come out here and talk to us again.
I'm not much of a rah-rah speaker, so I hate to follow Dominic. But that's okay.
I love you, Harry.
Love you too, my man. That word, truthfully, I told my family and close friends. I'm an Asian, obviously, and we don't use that word too often. Even towards our kids, which is not, right. But in the last, I think, 5-6 months, 3-4 more to the point, I've heard that the word used on me more than I did in my entire lifetime to thousands. When I go home and I tell my wife, I don't know what I've done to deserve, this kind of affection and of people, but I thank you for that. So we had a great campaign, and I want to acknowledge, our signs. We were on a very kind of skimpy budget because I'm cheap. But one person made so many signs for me, and believe it or not, she even waved twice a week on Hilo, Kona, and so many things, to help me get elected. And the funniest part about it is she didn't even vote for me because she's Canadian. I want you to acknowledge my aloha and thanks to Jan Anderson. The guy used to put me up all the time with his phone calls, Jim Wynn. I think he's here. Jim, are you here? I'm not here. But in regards to this issue, I'm going to deviate a little bit. I know what Mr. Ugong said is very important, and Bob, in regards to the issues. I tried to tell Bob this for several months now. My issue is a little different. My issue is not geothermal. Geothermal was the issue that brought forth in regards to why I ran and why I made certain things public. I don't want to bore you, but I want to read to you this homemade brochure. Everything that you see in regards to in print or radio station, because I was a one-man type operation, I wrote myself, and therefore everything I wrote I truly believed in. I take time to really choose my words carefully, because it is very important that I choose words that really express what I feel. I won't bore you with this whole thing. The question was, why are you running, Harry? Because people always asking me why I was running. And if I may read just a part of it. However, as time went on, some home rule issues became more the focus and concerns of many. An issue was the status of the Community Development Plan program and the lack of support felt by especially those who contributed so much of their time on this issue. Other home rule issues are raised by Act 55, established by the Public Land Development Corporation. Act 97 eliminated geothermal resource permit authority of the Hawaii County Planning Commission, eliminated geothermal subzones, and makes geothermal activity permissible in any land use category. And the attempt by the county and state officials to exempt geothermal exploratory drilling from any EA or EIS requirements. It is emphasized that I do support geothermal, but must be done to ensure the protection of people and the environment. It became very clear that the issues were not just how geothermal or other projects were developed, but more importantly, the taking away of people's opportunity for input, the role of the local county government, and the determination of the kinds of developments that affected their lifestyle and their home. These issues are at the very heart of what I believe to be the role and relationship of the people and their government, and that is why I ran. But the sad part about it, and I'll tell you, it took me a lot of late hours to write that brochure. I was told you have to get something out because people are not listening or hearing while you're running. But sad to say, I do not know how to communicate some of these things. And I've tried in forums, and I don't care where the forums were held, whether it be Hilo, Pankua, Kohala, Kona, Ka'u. Whenever I talked about Act 97, whenever I talked about the state and the county attempt to eliminate EIS, EAS requirements. I never had one single solitary person ask me a question about that to explain it further. And I can conclude a lot of things from that, but I'll tell you what I did conclude. Most of them don't understand it or don't care. I hope they do care. I hope that not understanding it is the issue. I do want to point out a couple of things for you in regards to what I think is very important for this very impressive group and big group to concentrate on. And I do hope this group gets bigger. Yes, the geothermal issue is very important, but even more important, as I stated in the brochure, was Act 55, Act 97, an attempt to eliminate geothermal from any EIS, EAS requirement. It was the process in which they passed those things. It was a process in which they attempted to pass that elimination of geothermal from EIS, EAS. I dare ask any of you here, how many of you knew that your government, county and state government, was working with people and went up to the State Department of Health to ask for an exemption of EIS, EAS requirement? How many of you knew? One man knows, two. And that's what I'm talking about. Now let's go Act 97. On that first exemption, you know how I got the information on it? I was a happily retired grandpa pulling weeds. And I got a call from a person from Kauai, and I'll just leave his name out because I didn't ask for permission. I got a call from this person in Kauai who was involved. He said, "Harry, do you know what's going on?" I said, "Heck, no, I haven't kept up. I hate to say it, but I haven't kept up." And then he told me about that. They had already passed the committee level and was going to go to the whole commission. And he said, it's guaranteed to go pass. I said, do you know what that means to Hawaii people if it passes? It means that they can do exploratory drilling anywhere on the land use districts on the island of Hawaii without a permit. And I told him, no, that's not possible. And so you eat, and you eat. And I asked my wife for a few $100s to go to Honolulu to testify. And luckily, they voted it down, which surprised me, truthfully. In regards to Act 97, this is the more important issue with me. I need for you to use your group to look into Act 97. Every forum I went to, because the time and the place is not to explain that, because you don't have the time. I asked the group to please look into the wording of Act 97 and see what it takes, what it does rather. And I think, as I told the governor, because he gave me the courtesy of calling me because he heard I wasn't too happy, and this was before I said I would run. I said of my disappointment in our government, of my sadness in our government, and even a disgust of our government in regards to what they're doing to our people and our land. I need you to read Act 97 because it eliminated Act 96, which was passed in the year 1983. And we had different people then, obviously. I did not like some parts of it in regards to the declaration of subzones, but I liked most of it. Because in it, it required consideration of you, the people. It required consideration of impacted environment. And it required participation, education, involvement with the people that is going on fire. I want you to read 97, which took its place, because it eliminated all aspects of the past law. And in brief, what it stated was, geothermal exploratory drilling basically is allowed any place in the state except conservation lands, which is still the authority of the state, without any permit. And if you read 97, I think I'm boring the baby, but it's okay. Act 97, geothermal development is a permitted use in ag or rural districts without county land use permit or public hearing. It is a matter of right now because it is law. Act means it is law. And you know that geothermal is a major industrial facility. And this is why I told the governor and the lieutenant governor, how can you do this to the island's people? And this is why of all the things you discussed today, this is something you have got to focus on. You know, I have not a disagreement of any kind of hostility, obviously, because the emphasis, and I'm glad of that because you saw me, I stated it in writing of my concern on that long time ago. But it was not alone. All of these things is highly collaborated to achieve a goal. You should know that. Act 97 took away so many of your rights. And their responsibility to communicate with you on what will happen to your land and your lifestyle. When I chose those words of affecting your lifestyle, it's not just words. It is because of the sincere, deepest feeling I can tell you of the preciousness of the lifestyle here. And I don't want it to be tempered with unless the people agree to it. You know, all of this has been said, and I heard it out of the voices of people who I thought cared more. And this was, when I asked them why, they said, Harry, you know we've got to stop fossil fuel dependency. Who argues with that? But at whose expense and at what expense? And you know we have to do things to expedite, because these laws are there and they are things that will slow down the process of geothermal, but at whose expense? So I'm asking this group here, 55, I'm very confident at this point, I want 97 repealed. I don't want, right now, Mr. Rutherman, right now there are people in the legislature who are drafting amendments. Don't get pulled by the amendments that make you happy. Take a look at 96 and all the things that are showed on the process. They took that away and replaced it with 97. Don't be conned on the amendments that will fix everything. It will not. Have somebody, I know you're all, as Bob says. The reason that you don't know is very common sense. This is not your job. You don't get paid for it, for one. Number two, most of you are busy working a job and a half, and two, just to survive. And this takes a lot of time. And I know that. But this is a little different. You have to spend some time on it. I want to conclude and read something that I wrote to the Department of Health Commission on the environmental management, as far as please don't vote to eliminate EIS, EAS. I ask you to take the time to review what the people of the area were exposed to, and perhaps one may begin to understand the distrust of what is said in regards to geothermal. It is my hope that you may begin to feel why there is so much fear when they hear unusual sounds coming from the geothermal plant, and when they are awakened at night with the smell of H2S. Please note that this time, there are no avenues for immediate follow-up of their concerns by government who is responsible for their safety. And that you have to follow up also. I disagree with some of the things in the health study because we have a government agency that is funded to do